And we need to do the additions too first. Okay. Prior to continuing on, we need to make two additions, or one addition and one deletion from the agenda. 5A, resolution to establish a money market account is the addition. And then we are deleting the director's report. The director had a conflict tonight, so will not be here. So if I could have a motion to make the changes to the agenda.
I motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? All right, thank you. And then we'll continue on with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And then each month we share a portion of our vision, mission, and core values. And this month is the core values. We believe all students have the ability to learn and are important and have unique skills to contribute successfully to our world. We believe in valued, high qualified, team-oriented staff that cares for, supports, and teaches every student to their full potential every day. We believe that support and teamwork among our school districts, families, and communities provide the best effective learning outcomes in and out of the classroom. And we believe in relevant, inclusive, and engaging curriculum that appropriately prepares the students for life endeavors. And we'll go on to the students of the month. We'll start with the elementary.
All right.
Zero.
Here today.
Cassie's the only one.
All right, I'm gonna start with kindergarten. Elena Hovis. All right, she consistently works hard, even when things are challenging for her. She's also very helpful and kind to her teachers and peers. Congratulations, Elena.
Everybody's a little rusty, John.
First grade, Olivia Hammond. So Olivia has made significant progress in first grade. She is truly doing her best every day and trying hard to write neatly on her papers. She is helpful to her classmates. I'm proud of how diligently she's been working, and I enjoy having her in my class. Congratulations, Olivia. Second grade. So we have Ava Major. She's made huge gains this year. She's always been kind and a good classmate, but in the last few months, her academics have really started to shine. I'm proud of her and know that she will do great things in third grade. Congratulations. And for third grade, Brooklyn Stanley. Brooklyn has been a joy in our class this year. She consistently shows kindness, love, and friendship to everyone around her. Brooklyn is always ready to include others, ensuring no one feels left out. She approaches each day with joyful enthusiasm for learning and puts forth her best effort in everything that she does. Congratulations, Brooklyn. Fourth grade, Reese Wagner. Throughout this year, Reese has come out of his shell considerably. He was a quiet and shy individual when he started, but he's become one of the most outgoing students I have. He is always raising his hand to answer questions and ensures that he and others are following the rules. He is constantly engaged in our class, whether doing individual work or group work. I've absolutely loved watching Reese grow this year and cannot wait to see what he accomplishes in the future. Congratulations, Reese. And lastly, Kendall Whitesell, fifth grade. Kendall is a diligent student whose strong work ethic shines through in her pursuit of academic excellence. Despite her natural shyness, she courageously steps out of her comfort zone to tackle new challenges. Her willingness to overcome hesitation and give her best effort is admired by both her peers and teachers. Kendall's determinations and proactive attitude make her a remarkable presence in any classroom. Congratulations, Kendall.
All right, thank you. Now for the middle and high school.
Yeah, we got one in attendance tonight, Cassie Primton. Come on up here, please. All right. Cassie says her favorite food is fried rice. Her club, she's involved in softball, soccer, cheer, and band. Right? So you're busy all the time. Favorite softball or soccer, if you had to choose. No. Oh. All right, there you go. Good job. All right. Her hobbies, playing softball and playing card games. What kind of card games?
Yes.
hymns. Interesting. I've never learned that, so easy to learn?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Her favorite subject is music because she just really likes it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Are you nervous?
Yeah.
Been in this place how many times, you know? And then I asked her, what do you like most about Bloomfield Middle and High School? She says the sports games. So you like attending what, basketball games, other sports, soccer, right? Did you play in the pep band?
Yeah.
You enjoy those?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, listen, congratulations. Your teachers recognize you as the student of the month, and it's well deserved. All right. What's that? Yeah, I know, right? I told her, I really did. When she walked by this morning, I did know, I mean, I do, I noticed the shoes. I was gonna tell her that. Yeah, it's good taste. All-time favorite brand right there. Our next student of the month is Blaine Van Devener, and Blaine's a junior. I forgot, Cassie's an eighth grader. Should have said that. Excuse me. Blaine is, he works at Culver's in Bloomington, so he's working tonight. He let me know, he sent me an email, but he did fill out his questionnaire. And his favorite, this is his first time on this one, his favorite food, crab legs. So there you go. He's involved in board game club, art club, JAG, and Ninja ROTC. His hobbies are playing games with friends, Lego builds, interesting, and fishing. His favorite subject is art, and he said, I can express myself freely. Very nicely done. And what he likes most about Bloomfield Middle and High School is the teachers seem interested in caring. So it was nice for Blaine. So congratulations.
Yeah. All right, thank you, and congratulations to all the students of the month. And we invite you to stay for the rest of the meeting, but if you need to leave, we understand, and we'll pause and continue on with the agenda here in just a second.
Cassie, let Mr. Dean know you're a freshman.
Are you? Okay.
No, now. She's too nice and sweet, you know. She wanted as an eighth grader. But now it's summertime. Yeah.
Officially moving up. All right, congratulations, guys. See you.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Yeah, good.
Take care of yourself.
Okay, we'll continue on with recognitions from the elementary.
So one of the things I want to talk about real quick is just some of the iLearn results and iRead results and kind of put them in perspective of what occurred from like last year, just the improvements that we've been able to make. So when I started here, one of my goals was to increase accountability, build relationships, and implement changes to improve our scores. While we have done a lot of work and made headway in that area, but there's still a lot of work to do. So this year, right now, we're sitting at a 92% pass rate. That's including our good cause exemptions. Those would be students with, cognitive impairments and stuff like that, which usually account for about 1% of the student population. There's a lot of things that boxes they have to check for the state. So if we don't include them, we're at 95%. Those good cause exemptions won't be retained by law, so they can go on. So 95% without them. We have one student who is going to be in summer school. And I'm pretty confident that student's going to pass. I mean, it was only like 4 points that student missed it by. So we're in a pretty good position there. This is up from, and once that student passes, we'll be at a 93.1. That's up from 81.8 last year. And to kind of put that into perspective in terms of the number of students that we have, I would be standing here talking about we have 11 students that are possibly going to be retained because they didn't pass the iRead. So that is a huge improvement. We got 10 kids that don't have to worry about that and can enjoy their summer vacation. So second grade increased their pass rate on iRead. The second time we kind of implemented some things to get the kids used to the test, talk about the language, get them, try to get their anxiety levels down. And so we have 26 students who did not pass. It's a 60% pass rate, which is on par right now with the state of Indiana. So a big improvement over where it was. iLearn this year. So third grade for ELA, English Language Arts. Last year we were at a passing rate of 27.9%. State average was 38.6. This year we came in at 41%, and the state average increased to 40%. So it's a 13.1% year-over-year improvement. Fourth grade, 38.8% last year. This year, 41%, up 2.2%. But if you look at them, there's some things in there because we'll talk about the same group of students here in just a second that they were able to increase them. Fifth grade was 41.8% last year. State average was 40.3 this year. They went down. Fifth grade did 39%. State average went up a little bit to 41%, so a negative of 2.8%. And then the average increase year over year for grades 3, 4, and 5 ended up being 12.5%. Most of that came from third grade, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in the textbook adoption and what kind of impact that was able to have on them as well. Fourth grade did a great job with those same students I was talking about last year, did 27.9%. They did increase them to a 41% pass rate this year. So they made a lot of gains in those. 13.1% is what they actually made. And then in our math, so our math was, we have some work to do on it. And there's a couple things about that. It's not all bleak. So this year we were 42% proficient in math. Last year, I don't have the state this year. Last year, the state average was 40.2. So maybe a small 1.1% increase. But I just wanted to say that there is, one of the reasons for that is a new first year teacher. And I can tell you as a first year teacher, it's really, really, really difficult to find what you're doing, where you're going, and how you're doing, how you're going to do everything. And so Miss Jordan had done a remarkable job this year. She kept her scores consistent and they didn't go backwards, which I attribute a lot of that to her working really hard after school. She created like a tutoring program for a lot of the students that needed it, did it at no charge. She didn't take any money from the school. It went on about an hour and a half, 3-4 times a week. And so is those things that probably lessened the blow of just being a first year teacher and learning a lot of it. Because me and her had a lot of conversations is like, nobody ever wants to talk about their first year. You learn everything that you don't want to do that next year. And so I just want to say that, congratulations to her. She really did a remarkable job her first year. It's a tough thing to do. So, yeah, that's where we're at.
All right, thank you. And then recognitions from the middle and high school.
Yeah, recognition wise. Just first off, number one, graduation. We had 56 that walked on Saturday, 49 with the class of 2025. We had nobody that did not graduate, right, which is always a positive. And we had 3 early graduates, which will be, they're not on the class of 25, they'll be on the class of 2026. Excuse me. We had 2 exchange students that walked, and we had 2 life skills students that walked as well. So everything went really well. I thought the speeches were very good. I thought our valedictorian, Malia Fischel, and salutatorian, Adeline Fig, did a good job. And I thought that Miss Gregory, for most memorable teacher, I thought her speech was very well. And everybody, other than, I don't know if you're there, what they were giving out little bugs there to me. And I had to ask 2 of them. I just didn't know, what, and I was like, no, I really don't, man. Just so anyway, it was pretty uneventful. I mean, it did a good job. We held back earlier, actually at the end of April, we held our VIP breakfast, which is an annual event. And this year, Ryan O'Neill was our guest speaker. Did a good job. And of course, if you don't know, that's an opportunity for teachers to recognize a student that was a favorite of theirs. There's no requirements, not academic. It's whatever. They just had a good relationship with them. And the cafeteria fixes our breakfast and does a good job. Had good attendance that day. We had our beta induction ceremony the next night on the 30th. And we had, I don't know, I want to say about 18 new inductees into senior beta. The Rotary Senior Scholarship and Top 10 Banquet was held the next Tuesday. And of course, that's where we have Senior Scholarship Award winners. And then the top 10 of each class, 9, 10, 11, 12, were recognized. That following Friday, we had our high school awards and middle school awards day. Our seniors this year earned over $775,000 in scholarships. So that's pretty amazing for what they do there. We also had our classroom awards. And then in the afternoon, our middle school, we had our classroom awards that day. And I will tell you that we had one student, and I can just remember, and watching his reaction as they were reading, as a teacher was reading her awards, you could just see his anticipation building. Like he knew he was going to get something, right? And when she got done, he wasn't, and you could see like he was just like, what, looking around. And then she had a special award for him. I mean, it was classy. It was hilarious. And, she called out to tell you what it was. It was the Milo Award. And this student has a cat named Milo. He has a shirt that's got Milo on it. It's pretty funny. But to see his expression when he got that, I mean, it was classic. Our senior activities went well. You know, we have our senior cookout in the park. Alan always comes in and cooks for us. Appreciate that. We had senior trip, went to Holiday World. Janice and Pam took them down there, and then we had the senior camp out. That went well, and they did a really good job. The only thing that was different was some of the seniors put tires out here as you drove in, but didn't block anything. They were pretty kind about that. And so they acted, and then when everything was done after graduation practice, they picked those up and went down. Of course, we had our finals that went well, AP exams that took place, and then we started summer school on Friday, last Friday, the 23rd. We've got credit recovery that's in here. We have 16 students in credit recovery. We have 22 students in summer health. It's in Ms. Kara's room. Caleb, Dr. Lee has that. And then in Tabitha's room, Craig has driver's ed, and we're about just 15, I think. Maybe they're starting to drive. So, yeah, everything's going off, ready for the summer, ready to go.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And then I see we have no public comments, so we will go on to routine business. And the first one is the meeting minutes of the April 21st, 2025 regular session. Do I have a motion to approve?
I move we approve.
And a second?
A second.
All in favor? Okay, thank you. And then the meeting minutes of the April 21st, 2025 work session. Do I have a motion to approve? Okay, and a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor? Okay, thank you. And then we have our treasurer's report for the month. Do I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
All right, thank you. And a second?
I'll second
All right, thank you. All in favor? All right, and then we have our monthly list of personnel. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move we approve.
Okay, and a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? All right, thank you. And I think you have an introduction?
Yeah, Mr. Dean, can you introduce Leah to the school board,
Yes,
please?
absolutely. Leah Leibacher right here. Leah is our new middle school science teacher. And I can't remember how many years experience do you have coming in prior to
22.
22? I knew it was 20.
This will be 22.
This will be 22. Okay, this fall. Experience from New York and teaching public schools out in New York. And then of course here in Indiana. Part of our community, we're excited to have Leah. She's licensed in English as well as science. So she's taken over. She's taken Emily's spot. And of course, Emily's moving to special ed. And so we're lucky and excited to have Leah join us, join our community here.
Well, thank you. Yeah, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
All right, and then we have a list of donations this month. Sherry Graff made a donation in memory of John Cummings to the middle high school band. Don and Susie Schulte made a donation to the tennis team. An anonymous donor made a donation to the middle school activities. And then Linda Maddox made a donation to the ROTC scholarships. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion we approve.
And a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor? All right, thank you. And then we have fundraiser requests for this month. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion we approve.
All right, and a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay, thank you. And then on to other business. an FFA overnight field trip, and this one is in October, October 29th through November the 1st. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
And a second?
I'll second it.
That direction. All in favor? All right, thank you. And then the FFA overnight field trip in June, coming up here in June 16th through June 19th to the state convention. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion we approve.
All right, and a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? All right, thank you. And then the elementary reading curriculum. Mr. Bradburn will discuss it prior to the vote. Let's see if there's any questions or anything.
All right, I'll go a little bit quick because I don't want your heads to turn into like a newborn baby's head and start moving around because it can be a little dry literacy. So if I say something, you have a question, please just stop me and go through that. So I want to talk a little bit, just really briefly, about why we are needing a new curriculum, what the mandate from the state of Indiana is, and what the different approaches are. And so we've always used, or at least for the last 15, 20 years, we've used what's considered balanced literacy. And so the teachers always loved it. And, I would have loved it. I loved it when I was a teacher because it gave you a lot of freedom on things that you could do. On the left-hand side, it kind of shows you some of the things that you would see in a balanced literacy programs. Students get better at reading by reading and reading and reading and reading, so on and so forth. Rote memorization of high frequency words. Phonics may be taught, but lessons are short, do not necessarily follow a scope and sequence, a specific order in which to follow in the time. And then on the right-hand side, you kind of see what structured literacy looks like. Misread words are corrected. Focus on sounding them out. For example, we had in 5th grade, one of the things that we noticed, and this is kind of where the deficits are coming from, like our informational text that we're not, the students aren't going to see that much. When we were looking at the iLearn scores, one of the points of data said that there was 67% were well below grade level. Well, 67% were well below grade level, not because they didn't know how to do phonics or anything. When we tested them, they did. We did a bunch of diagnostic testing on them. Basically what it is they got used to seeing what that word means. And if they see it, then they know it and they kind of go with it that way. Well, something you'll see all the time, you're going to have a very difficult time determining what the meaning of that word is or trying to find meaning in it. And so as we move to structured literacy, it's going to be more in giving them the tools in which to break things apart. You may have heard like consonant vowel, and open vowel makes it a long, vowel, so on and so forth. And so that allows the students to have the tools when they get into those situations in order to understand that information better. And so that's kind of where the state has moved us or pushed us, which is a good thing. The Research Center is probably one that's done it for the longest time. I mean, they've been in this for a really long time, and they're number one in literacy. They kind of stay away from balanced literacy. They stay with structured. So here's some of the terms if you're curious, like phonological awareness, what it is. I'm not going to go into all of those, but I did want to go into the process. And when I started last year in June, the first thing I did is reach out to the textbook companies and started trying to find samples and stuff like that, trying to find a company that would give me basically their product for a grade level for the entire school year at no cost. So there was a few. And Savas happened to be one that we did that for. And there's a few reasons why I did that. One, I wanted the data to show what it could do. And it was a way to not just have teachers go to a caravan where there's a bunch of salespeople making a pitch. Here's some samples. Oh, those are pretty. Those are cute. Yeah, let's get those. And instead having the data that shows, yeah, this will do this, 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 and this, and this, and this. And so that's what we did. And so for the entire school year, well, actually, I think it started in October, we kind of threw out the old program, brought in the new program, and it hadn't looked back since. And they have gone through that. So when we started this process, so the test that they take now for iLearn, we gave them kind of a pre-test of what those skills looked like. We did a pre-test, and 64 third grade students using the science of reading skills, 60 of the 64 students scored 20% or below. It was bad. It was really bad. So, like I said before, I met with parents. We talked about it. We talked about how it was going to be a struggle. That transition was going to be difficult. Change is tough. People don't like change. They'll fight it every step of the way. But we're going to keep pushing it. We're going to keep getting there because we know it's the right thing to do. So last week, one of the third grade classes averaged, with all the work together, that's vocabulary, word study, reading comprehension, spelling, dictation, 68 scored 80% or higher, which is mastery. And 3 were at 70%, and we only had 1 at 58%. And that's pretty remarkable. It's not uncommon. It's now kind of become the norm in those classes, which is really, really fantastic, which is why we had 2 kids with good cause exemptions that actually passed the iRead that grew a significant portion. We had 2 that passed this recently, and they grew, I think it was like 140 points, but Megan came down, your wife, and I was like, here, come down here. So we're going to tell these 2 kids that they passed because they've been stressing. And so it was a really good moment. You see the kids, they were just bawling. The teacher was bawling, and it was good because they were afraid they were going to get held back, and they ended up being successful. So it was a good day. So process, grade level adoption. They used it. Grades 2 and 5 were offered HMH. The only thing I could get from HMH was a digital platform for the entire school year. So the teachers could have used it with their kids and everything else. They would have had access to the reading and all the materials that went along with it. I spoke to principals around the region, those who adopted last year any series, Princeton Community Schools, Wharton County Schools. And so I was asking some of the principals, like, what are some of the pitfalls in the programs that you adopted that you're seeing? One of the things I didn't want to see is for us to adopt a textbook series and then have to fill in the gaps with a bunch of other programs costing more money. And so done in 3rd grade around the other area, also offer time for teachers to meet with 3rd grade. Tell them I'd get them a sub. They could come in there, they could observe, they can do observations on them. They can meet with them after school in the conference room, like on a Friday or something. The idea was that they give the pitch from a teacher's perspective, the good, the bad, the ugly, what was good, what was not, and that way they could make an informed decision. Let's see, we went on to.
Did any of them do that? Did they come and observe?
How'd that go over?
No.
Okay.
I mean, there was multiple opportunities to observe. Nobody took them up on it, which was kind of disappointing. I did reach out to some area schools that had been running the program for a year and said, hey, I'll cover this teacher's classroom. They could go see it, see what they think about it, see it in action. That didn't happen either. So a lot of times they always have a committee of 2 or 3 teachers, which I didn't do. And so there was a reason for that. And the reason is I wanted everybody to have an opportunity to see the program, to vet the program, to beat it like a piñata, and then to be able to give me feedback. And so they had, kind of from October until, the end of February, actually at the end of the school year. And then be able to, in the month of May or March, I opened it up on a Google form and said, hey, you can just give me what you think about it, what you want to do, which one you want, why or why not, and provide me with that information. And so I had about 7 responses, I think, total. So, and that's fine. Some of them were just fine with whatever we decided to go with. So they would support it, they'll use it, and it's going to be fine. Let's see. Lastly, one of the other things I looked at was intervention program. So one area that we had a deficit in when I came is if you go to a title teacher right now and you ask that title teacher, where is that kid struggling at? They're going to be able to tell you. If you go to that classroom teacher and say, okay, how's your kid progressing in the title room? They're going to have no idea. They're not going to be able to tell you one thing, which is disappointing because they need to know where that kid's at and where they're struggling at. And so the idea was that we had a program too that was also intertwined when it comes to intervention. And so this was one of the few programs that did it. So as they take their weekly assessment, that data for all those skills is updated in real time. And so the teacher knows, and as they go to intervention, whether it be special education, the resource room or the title room, they do their interventions and they update the information. The teacher gets that feedback as well. So they're consistently seeing in real time where that student's at on that particular skill, which is constantly being reinforced through the curriculum. And so one other thing was that we had Success Maker. So Success Maker for them is it's basically just a universal screener, and they're working on a diagnostic testing to go with it. And so that was be a lot of programs that schools buy in addition to like Star Reading, iReady, and stuff like that. And so again, it would just be an additional expense for the school district. And so I wanted something again that would have all of that. And this one kind of provided that as well. And then I worked with a representative. I don't know how long. I mean, I wore her out when it came down to try to make sure that we got the most for our money. I went down all the way down to even the shipping costs, which is kind of funny because, you know, I asked them like, how long do we have to pay shipping? And they're like, oh, it's just for the first year. I was like, oh, really? So where are you guys at? And they're like, Indianapolis. I'm like, fantastic. You're not that far. So yeah, that was able, you know, that would save us around $12,000, which is substantial. And so finally, printed reading books, interactive books, that's really good because the kids need to be able to kind of get involved with the text, highlight things, annotate, and all of that's important. And so that was another big thing. All reading sources for teachers, they can print what they want, so we don't have to buy anything else. Eliminates the problem for paying for books that we don't use with every student. And so instead of, you know, like kindergarten's not going to use the decodable readers or whatever the case may be, and they have their own set, there's no sense of the school providing, you know, putting out the money for that expense when they don't need it. And so the Success Maker, I was able to get them to throw math in as well, free for 5 years in the program. And so the intervention program tier 2 is all included as well. The final cost ended up being $54 per student per year for 6 years. And they give us 75 books. We don't have 75 in each one. So I asked them, I said, okay, at the end of the 6 years, if we go and do that 7th year, can you throw in the digital platforms for free? Because we'll have extra books and we'll almost have a full year. And they said yes. So then we brought our cost down to $50.79 per student. So that's
We're getting ready to buy a car.
Yeah. We went through every line. I mean, it was rough. I did contract negotiations for a really long time when I was in the Percentas company. So yeah, I think it just kind of stayed with me, I guess. So yeah, any questions?
So this is for K through 5?
K through 5,
Okay.
yes. And like I said, it's so vastly different than balanced literacy. You know, it's not that the kids haven't been prepared, but I often use the analogy of saying, like, you know, we have taught them how to dribble a ball, and then they show up on game day, which is test day, and it's a football field. They don't know what to do. And so they just don't have the tools for them to be successful, which is why 3rd grade had such a huge year-over-year increase. And, you know, the other ones were still, because we were still doing the same thing.
So in order for the grade levels to be where they need to be on starting that first week of school, are the teachers going to meet, or have they already had a meeting of where they need to take off with this on teaching it?
Yeah, so all of this everything's planned for them. It's scripted. They don't have to use a script. But for someone who's coming into it as a new teacher, it would be helpful to have something like that, a resource. And so the teachers, yeah, they know that they're going to come in day one and they're going to hit the ground running with it. It starts out with a placement test on Success Maker, where these kids, you know, where their skills are at and everything else. It just continues to build from there as they go through the units and take the test, the chapter test and all that stuff. So, but we have some professional development to do as we shift that, but we'll get there.
All right. Any other questions? All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve then?
Make a motion to approve.
All right, and a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? All right, thank you. And the next agenda item is a capital agreement with the Greene County Foundation. And would you like to speak on that?
Sure. So dating back to the work that we did in Greene County with the other superintendents and with the foundation to get the Lilly grant for the child care facilities. We're just taking steps forward in that process, and with the money moving through the foundation, we need an agreement. And as you can see in there, there's quite a few dates outlined as to what we need to meet. With construction, dates typically are tough to meet, so they put very generous expectations and put them farther out than what should be happening. I think the biggest question that people will be asking is, when is it going to be open? So we're at the point right now where we are just now getting through the process to the architects been identified. Next step is general contractor, which we're in the process of doing that. And then we will start going through the bidding process. When you put all the steps together, hopefully, if everything goes according to timeline, it'll be the end of the next school year. So realistically, we're hoping to open in August of 26. That's the realistic goal. If that changes, I'll keep you all up to date. But and that would, like I mentioned, be ahead of schedule in what the agreement states. What is nice is the executive director has already been hired, and that person was hired by Suzanne and Katie at the foundation. By having that person identified now, they can help in all the steps of the process, but they're also going to work on hiring well in advance. They're also going to work on certifications and licenses that will be needed for a child care facility. So that's a really good thing. And since Bloomfield has the best, she is from Bloomfield, so Lindsay Goodman and her kids go to school here. So I'm hoping that gives us even an added benefit of having the executive director close here. And so I gave her a tour and introduced her to many key people a couple weeks ago. So.
All right, thank you. Any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, do we have a motion to approve?
I make a motion, we approve?
All right, and a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, thank you. And then our next agenda item is the resolution to transfer funds from the education fund to the operations fund. Do I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
And a second?
Second.
Second, all right, all in favor? All right, the next agenda item is a new board policy on the conflict of interest, and this is just our first reading. Is there any comments or questions? We will do our second reading next month and vote on it at that time. All right, seeing none, then we have the board policy updates, use of social media. It's one of them, yeah. Is there any, this is again is our first reading. We'll have our second reading next month and a vote on it. Is there any questions or comments this month? All right, seeing none, then volume 37, number 2, the first reading. So this is the extended list from Neola. So a lot of board policies, first reading. So again, we will have our second reading next month and vote on it at that time. But do we have any questions or comments now? Okay. Seeing none, then the next item is the resolution to establish the money market account. And was there any update on that, or?
Sure. So as you all know, we got a bond that we are using to do renovations throughout the building, multiple different things. If you walk, you can see demolitions already happened in the science rooms and the art room. This is day 3, and there's already been a little bit of fun where the contractors cut water piping and flooded the art room, but they are responsible. We got it shut off, they cleaned it, and then Matt Bales got in touch with them, said we need it fixed right now so we can turn it back on. There's a board meeting tonight, and some of our board members might need to use the bathroom. So get the water running again. So it's already all cleaned up by them. It's already fixed. So that's what we want to happen if there's an issue. But with that bond money, we got it 6 months ago, and we haven't needed to spend any of it. So what we did is we put it into a CD, and I asked Michelle before the meeting, and she estimated that we're right around $17,000 of interest that we've gained by just investing it. But now we're at a point where we're going to be needing to start paying different entities throughout the process. So what we're asking approval to do is move it to a money market account where we can gain a little bit of interest, even though it'll be an extremely small, but it'll give us the flexibility to pay the contractors as those bills come due. So that's what we're asking approval to do.
Okay, any questions or comments?
Glad we don't have to spend that interest on shipping.
All right, then do we have a motion to approve?
I make a motion, we approve.
All right, and a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? All right, thank you. And then on to the superintendent's report.
Yes, so a little bit more than normal. As you know, I like to identify who the staff members of the week were from the previous board meeting to this one. So the week that included April 25th was Pam Kerr. The week that included May 2nd was Erica Pemberton. The week that included May 9th was Kristen Buke. And then the last 2 weeks, we chose to honor our retirees as the staff members of the week. So we had Susie Riggs and Christy Webb, and then also Lisa Wilson. And even though Lisa Wilson technically works for our special ed co-op, one thing that we always work to do here at Bloomfield is make sure our co-op employees know and feel that they are our employees. They're servicing our kids. They're in our building. We want them included in everything. And Lisa has been here for a long time, and she has done a phenomenal job. She's not planning on moving right away, so she's actually going to do some mentoring in the fall and be kind of contracted by the co-op, but we will definitely miss each of them. I did think it would be nice to point out we had an end of the year staff meeting, and one of the things that I started a couple years ago was doing staff member of the year in several categories, and also honoring staff members that hit milestones. So 5 years of service, Crystal Hodge, Caitlin Toon, and Brandy Cummings. 10 years of service, Sarah Helms and Sandy Chereau. 20 years of service, Jessica Lauderdale. 25 years of service, Laura Weddle. 30 years of service, Christy Bladen. And as you've seen, 50 years of service, both Linda and Laddie Moore. Laddie signing up for another 6 years. Lydia got some very nice plaques to give at the varying levels of service. Then we also did staff members of the year. The teacher of the year was Kevin Graves. Custodian of the year, Jeff Montgomery. Secretary of the year, Brianna Latimer. Food service worker of the year, Renee Young. Bus driver of the year, Lana Pinnock. And so I will say for each of those staff member of the year awards, there is a multi-step process. It starts with somebody has to nominate them. And so either on the elementary side, there's a nomination, or on the middle high school side, there's a nomination. Then the elementary has a committee that looks at all the nomination and picks a representative from their side. Middle high school does the same thing. Then I get all the directors together and last year's teacher of the year, and they listen to each of the two principals, give an explanation as to why their nomination should win, and then there's that vote, and that's how we come to these winners. And then one other award, as you guys know, we have a James Harvey Award, and this year the winner got $600 from the foundation that was set up. And this year the winner was Jeff Montgomery. As you all know, Jeff goes above and beyond. Even if he's at home and it's at night and somebody needs something, you call him up and he comes and helps with whatever is needed. So just an awesome employee for us. Then I did want to take time to go through, as you all know, we're hitting property tax reform, which means we're going to have reduced budgets in the future that we have to deal with and address. So I have worked very closely with Michelle Keene in looking at budgets. I think she really enjoys it when every time I've got an idea, I just send it her way. She comes up with the math of what it would be, and then I'm trying to determine if that's something that we can do without affecting students, without affecting the learning that's happening. And one of my biggest goals, I don't want anybody to lose their job. I did have an open meeting for anybody on our staff to come and present ideas. And we had just over a dozen people show up, and a couple ideas that we added and thought through. I also brought it up at my district discussions, and then I also brought it up at leadership team meetings. And where we are at right now with reductions, we're getting very close to what we're going to need for next year and really the next couple years. So we're getting there. We're pretty close, but I do want to again reiterate, nobody's losing their jobs. So one thing that the principals will affect the principals is, as a cost saving measure, the budgets that they've had are going to be moved to central office, and I will oversee each expense that comes out of their offices. From athletics, athletics is going to begin to reimburse the district at $10,000 a year for costs associated with athletic supervisors, custodians when you think of cleaning up after events or setting up for events. And Nate already knows that. Also, one thing that that will affect everybody in a certain way is we're no longer going to have an on-site technician to deal with those level 1 issues that staff may face with their Chromebooks. We will still have a partnership with 5-Star for all the behind-the-scenes work. And one thing that we're going to do is bring back, it's already in the contract, it's been in there for years, but we're going to add a position, a stipend position for one of our staff members to kind of be the go-to person for those tier 1 issues. The difference will be that person will have another job. This will be on top of it. So it will really be like a before school or after school type of, I'll get to it then, instead of let me just drop what I'm doing and run and help you. Then, as I've brought up, we are, one of the cafeteria positions will be the free and reduced position will be split with another department where somebody's doing 2 roles. And so that's going to be funded through the cafeteria position. And what that will do is reduce our budget in another area. Then 1 hour of one of our custodials' pay will be paid out of the cafeteria fund. On a technical basis, we could charge the cafeteria for a lot more than just that, but from a mathematical standpoint and budget, that is all that they can afford to maintain their budget and meet their fiscal responsibilities. So that's what we're going to do. One of the ideas board member came up with is sending Hoosier Hills on one CDL, licensed driver, one full yellow bus instead of 2 mini buses. And I'm still waiting on Eastern Green to answer me. They're considering it, but on us picking up their kids on the way and then splitting that cost, because that could give us yet even more savings. Then if you know how Medicaid works, you get reimbursed for different services offered, and schools offer specific Medicaid services, and we actually get a reimbursement for that. We get about $16,000 a year is what we've averaged the past couple of years. And the past several years, nothing has been spent from the money that we've brought in. We've made sure we have all the equipment we need, but there are ways that we can spend that money. So we're not going to drop our cash balance in that account, but we're going to begin spending the full amount that we get each year. As you approved today with the education to operations transfer, we are going to ensure that the full 15% allowed by law is transferred each year. And I will say that our teacher appreciation grant, which is a state grant, has drastically changed in this legislative system or this legislative session this year. With that change, this would be an opportune time to stop continually giving non-certified stipends. That TAG grant, one of the changes, only 20% of teachers will qualify. So there will be a savings in that change for us. One thing I've made Mr. Bradburn aware of is our Title I for years has overspent their budget, and we are bringing that back down within the budget. What that means is we are going to reduce the number of aides that we have in the elementary, being funded out of Title I, which technically wasn't being funded out of Title I because there wasn't money there. The way we are going to reduce by 2 positions is through attrition. Then we are also reducing our budget within professional services, our cleaning supplies budget, and our gas, heating, cooling, electric budgets. We're reducing the supplies budget for our SRO. We're reducing our budget that we use for purchasing buses each year. We're reducing our budget for building improvements each year, and we're reducing our budget for mobile and fixed equipment purchases. That's what we've got so far. As you can see, my goal with all of that is to keep it as far from student learning as possible and to keep it from anybody losing any jobs. So thank you.
Thank you.
Have you gotten, so the elementary secretary position that's posted right now, is that like whoever you hire is gonna also do part-time in the food service with the free and reduced?
So what I've told both Sarah and Mr. Bradburn is I don't want to say who's going to do it until we know who's hired.
Okay.
If the person that, and I know he's got it open right now, I know he's got some applicants already. If the person that's hired, that candidate comes in with experience and they would be a great fit, then that person would be it.
Okay.
If not, then right now, Megan took over the immediate need that we had for getting letters out and communicating with families. If she would be a better fit, then it will be her. But I didn't want to say for long term for next year which one it would be because I want to see what strengths the person comes in with, and then work with both Jason and Sarah on who it's going to be and make sure they have the training, the resources, and the time that they need to accomplish all those tasks.
Okay.
All right. Is there any other questions? Okay, seeing none. Is there any board member comments and items for future agendas?
I just want to say that Susan Street does a really beautiful job with the flowers. They look really nice. Lana and I both noticed.
All right. And then our future meeting is on Tuesday, June the 24th, which is a change because of a conflict with the conference. And it will be at 6 p.m. here in the Media Center. And this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.